Dave Rutch, it is
Yeah,
incredible to have you on My Smart Podcast for a number of reasons. Old Army friend, how are you?
I am doing great, my friend. It's good to see you. How you
Yeah,
been?
you too, man. Blessed, ultimately blessed. All the challenges and lessons and learnings, and all the things to be grateful for. Pretty darn good life. Pretty
Right.
darn good life. I mean, let's start. We're right here in America, so let's start with that one.
Amen. That's what I. Whoops, wrong way. There you go.
Are
My
you
American
back and
flag.
forth?
My American flag.
That's right. We should be a little honest with our guests here watching. We were in the Army together back in 90, 91, maybe even 89. I can't remember exactly what the first date was, but so we go way back, and I love it. I love to have you on the show. We're here, in great part to talk about some entrepreneurial things. I'd love to introduce you to my sphere of my sphere of influence. Love to have you, expose me to yours as well. It's all about connections. Let me back up a little bit and Dave, give you the reins. After Army days, what you got out 92, 93?
91, close.
Oh, 91. You got out right away then, right? Did you leave Germany then? We were, folks, everyone, we were in Germany together. So you PCS'd out of Germany.
I did. Yeah, that was the only station I had. Just got in for a couple years, got out, went to school, and yeah, just didn't spend much time.
And got out. And now, did you get out and right into your construction business? You own a custom home remodeling business.
I did not. I actually started a personal training business once I got out of the Army and did that for a while. Buying our first house, me and my wife, and working on that house showed me the love for construction and came to me easy. And once I fell in love with that, I quickly, over the years, just transitioned out of the personal training business and full time into construction, and been doing the construction gig for almost 20 years now.
Amazing. And I don't mean to, or maybe I should be honest here. This could be a very, very loaded question just because you and I have had conversations in the recent past about everything from your word is your bond, keep your promises, keep your scheduling and stuff like that. And when it comes to construction, there is oftentimes that disconnect between contractor and homeowner. And I think as this is the loaded question that I already know the answer to, but I'm still gonna to ask it. What's your best setup? What's your best setup to keep your business going and keep the customers from having those frustrations, those stereotypical frustrations about contracting and residential contracting in particular?
So it's easy. I don't know if it's my education or just my upbringing, but your typical contractor has the biggest mistake of thinking they work for themselves. And I recognize day one that you don't work, no one works for themselves. Whoever pays your paycheck, you're working for them. When you work at
Mhm.
McDonald's, Walmart, you're a teacher, doctor, whoever's writing your check is your boss. So for us, it's a matter of the homeowners are writing the checks and they're our boss. So that means we can't show up when we want. We can't look the way we want. We can't smell the way we want. We got to be professional, on time, in uniform, just like any other profession. And I think once people understand that, which is so elementary to understand, once they understand that, getting business, I think, is relatively easy. But the problem in construction is nobody gets that. Nobody recognizes that. They show up whenever they feel like it because they're their own boss, which is just ludicrous. If you work for McDonald's and your shift starts at 8 o'clock, you show up at 9 o'clock, you're going to get fired. But for some reason in our industry, guys think that's okay. And I think that's where a lot of guys fail.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And I've got, in my past lives, both residential and commercial construction and development, experience and the different sophistications between residential and commercial. Now, you, um, with the stuff that you do with precision remodeling, is it some just from the very basic repairs or is it custom? What do you specialize in?
Usually larger projects. We're not a handyman service. We're not set up to take on smaller projects. So anywhere from kitchens and bathrooms, basements, but a lot of additions, screen decks, larger scale whole house remodels. Much larger projects is really our wheelhouse. The little small stuff we usually kind of leave for handyman type companies.
I understand. Now, talking business growth here for a minute and growing the business, you say this has been going on for 20 years now. What is the key to growth? Not necessarily the key to success, but the key to growth for your company. Some folks are very big into tech, or in this case, in these days, social media, or maybe SEO, website. Others are very relationship based. What would you credit your growth to mostly?
I think my honesty is probably the biggest thing, but as you grow as a company, how you grow changes because you end up having more money to change how you can grow. So, our first many years, I didn't have money to advertise. Now we do a lot of advertising online. So, as you grow as a company and become more successful, you have more ability to do things to advertise and grow your company. But in the beginning, it's got to be word of mouth, and just trusting in yourself. The first couple years were pretty grim. I wasn't swimming in money and lining my pockets. But as a business owner, you don't expect that right out the gate. So you have to trust in yourself, which I love doing. I've always loved relying on myself. And I think that's the biggest attribute when you're starting a business is you have to believe in yourself. Um, and as long as you work hard and be honest and do the right things, hopefully, you're setting yourself down the path. It's not going to happen overnight, but here we are almost 20 years later. And, things have evolved into a hell of a company that I would have never dreamt of.
I was going to pose the question, what do you see young entrepreneurs, some of the biggest mistakes they make? And you almost answered it right there in some self-confidence and some belief. What do you see seasoned entrepreneurs getting locked up in and maybe making mistakes or having shortcomings in?
It's greed. It's the old phrase of the root of all evil. I mean, it's money, it's greed, it's expecting too much too soon, lining your pockets, and everybody else around you can starve. It's that greed. If you can not have that greed being the underlying factor of I've got to make money, I got to make money, I got to be rich. Everybody wants to make money and have a good lifestyle, but be patient as the money starts to grow over the years. But I see too many guys, the people that work for them, can starve while they're lining their pockets. And that greed, it's going to kill any company. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. And I see it too many with, especially with home builders. Um, it's all about they put a year in and they just want to be rich the second year in, and it'll ruin you. It'll ruin you quick. Um, so I think if you can be honest with yourself and not expect too much too soon, and care about the people around you. I love seeing guys progress over the years, making more money, having better lifestyles. I love that. I get a kick out of everybody else doing well around me. It's not a matter of just how does Dave get rich and everyone else, can starve.
Right. You talking about having a team and instead of trying to get the most out of them, trying to get them to be the best people they can be. You and I have talked about that in the past, about teams in general, be it family, professional, military, all these things. When you run into an obstacle, when you're met with a challenge in your own company, do you have I don't mean to make it sound written, but maybe, do you have a step-by-step process of resolution, challenge resolution, conflict resolution, project issues?
Yeah, sure. And it's going to sound very elementary, but it's take a deep breath and deal with the issue. I don't think
Yeah.
necessarily there's a script to follow as every issue and how the scale of the issue and how bad it is, or how easy to rectify. But for me, it's just the issues happen. It's part of life. I don't care what you're doing. Things just aren't always going to go perfectly smooth. So when you come across issues, you take a deep breath and how do I got to solve it? Don't get worked up. Don't huff and puff and curse and yell and all of that. You can do all of that and then you can fix the problem, or you can bypass all of the screaming and yelling and you can just fix the problem. So I don't know. Again, maybe it's my personality, of just being laid back and not willing to get worked up when problems arise. I just take a deep breath and, okay, how do we get past this? What do we got to do? We just had it yesterday. We had one of our guys working on a project. A saw jumped on him while he was cutting something by a window, and it nicked the window frame. Okay, well, this really stinks. So there's two things. We can see if we can fix it and see if it's okay, or we got to replace the window. I mean, but to sit here and yell and scream and put people down and you still have the issue to deal with. So bypass all that stress and anger and just deal with the issue. I don't think there's a script per se, but I won't allow myself to get worked up over issues. It doesn't help anything.
Yeah, I think it's a great approach. I would be lying through my teeth if I said, "Oh, I'm perfect with that every time," but I work on it. Just traveling business over into philosophy a little bit, and I drop this guy's name every once in a while. I take a daily dose of Ryan Holiday. He's a stoic philosopher, writer these days. And when we think about current times, current times in your industry, let's say, what do you see as current challenges? Not 10 years ago, you're not five. I know we're in a different economy, different costs. What's the biggest challenges in the industry right now?
Finding help. You get just younger guys out of high school, college, whatever. Um, Not everybody's willing to get their hands dirty. Kids are a little, I don't know what the right word is, maybe softer, not looking to do physical labor. But the trades are always going to be there no matter what technology brings us in the future. So your plumbers, electricians, carpenters, roofers, the work's always going to be there and be needed. And finding help is the biggest challenge by far.
Hmm. Yeah, and a lot of people, that has been, call it the sentiment from a lot of business owners and even the media quite a bit. It seems like it's tiered off a little bit, but if you're still talking about it now, without it being media driven, then it sounds like it still exists quite a bit.
It's been this way for years. This is nothing new for us. All the trades. It's not just general contractors, carpenters. It's plumbing, electric, HVAC. You name the trade. It's finding help. Guys that are willing to work with their hands. Sweat and kind of some backbreaking kind of work sometimes. And I just feel like the younger population isn't as eager to get into this stuff.
Well, and is that society or educationally driven or lack thereof in this case? I mean, you have guys like Mike Rowe out there talking nationally in a couple of TV shows and really identifying the lack of attention to trades over the past couple of decades and what that is going to do as a society to us in manufacturing and having that gap in that shortage in that profession, in those professions. You know,
Yeah, it's frustrating. And when you find people that have a clue what they're doing, a lot of times more than not, they want an arm and a leg, and they're not worth what they're asking for, and that happens, and that could be some of the most disappointing part of it is finally finding someone that is willing, able, even has experience to work, but then what they're asking for, you just can't pay them.
yeah,
Yeah, it's frustrating to say the least.
I get it. Cost of living's up. It's the cost of real estate now, the cost of living across the board. And I know we're here in August, September rather of 2023. So if anyone's watching this down the road when we've got lower interest rates and a booming GDP, right about now, it's not it's everyone's in a hover pattern. Awful lot of people I believe are in a hover pattern. So Dave, for precision remodeling in particular, what do you see on the horizon for the company?
Well, our son is 16 years old, and he is the heir to the throne, so to speak. He's been doing projects with me since he's 12. By the time he was 14, he was able to use every saw, nail gun, and he gets it. He understands it. It came to me easily, and it comes to him easy. So next summer, he'll finish his junior year of high school. That summer, he'll start working in the field with our crew, and then going into his senior year, he'll continue to work. So he's eventually going to take over. Hopefully, 5, 6 years, he can take things pretty far in the field. Will allow some other positions to open up, and allow our company to grow. And trying to find somebody that's difficult, like we just talked about. I've been grooming somebody since he's 12 years old, so I'm excited for him to join the team, and he alone is going to be a stepping stone for us, to grow the company. And hopefully, by the time I start getting closer to 60, I'm 52 right now. I can start stepping away a little bit, and I expect by then, hopefully, our revenue has doubled.
Terrific. Terrific. And as we close out the show here, we've got, the show's target, I believe, to a great degree, is both new and experienced entrepreneurs, business owners, managers, even maybe even HR people that are dealing with people that want to grow, people that want to grow people that want to grow businesses. If you could leave the greatest piece of insight for a takeaway for our audience here in the spur of the moment, let me put you on the spot. What would it be?
Take care of the people you have. If you find people that are worth keeping, make sure you give them no reason to leave. And from the way you take care of them, the way you pay them, I do things for guys I don't need to get into here, but when I find guys that are worth keeping, I make sure I do everything I can to make sure they have no reason to leave.
Terrific. No, that sounds great. Now, I'm going to flash up a little banner here for folks to get a hold of you. Do you do anything out of state? You're just in one single location there?
Yeah, we're in Maryland. We sometimes go into Pennsylvania a little bit, but that's usually about as far as we'll go because we're not far actually from the Pennsylvania line.
All right. So if any of our listeners out there are in Maryland and want an absolute beautiful renovation on any part of the home or the whole darn thing, give Dave Rutch and Precision Remodeling a call. Dave, I deeply appreciate you coming on. And like I said, feel free to chop this video up as you wish and distribute it to your sphere of influence. And I wish you and your company all the best. And I know you and I will be talking here for years to come on all kinds of different growth and personal levels. And we will put another reunion together with all the guys from the unit somewhere. God. Las Vegas is easy to get people to. I'm just suggesting Las Vegas. I don't know if you want to get there.
I'm all for it. I love you, brother.
All right, man. All right. I love you too. And I look forward to talking with you again very, very soon. Thank you for coming on.
All righty.